The impossible signal. The Galactic Empire had ruled space for more than 10,000 cycles. Their fleets were feared, their laws were absolute, and no unknown ship had ever crossed their borders without permission. On this day, everything changed. Deep inside the Empire's outer defense sector, a silent alarm began to glow. At first, the officers ignored it, because false signals were common near empty space. But then the main sensor screen flashed again, stronger this time. An unknown object had appeared near the edge of the system. It was not using a jump gate. It was not using known warp technology. It simply appeared. Commander Relvac leaned closer to the screen. The object looked like a warship, but not one from any known race. Its shape was simple, almost plain. No sharp alien curves, no glowing symbols, just clean metal lines. The size was normal, not large, not small. But the energy readings made no sense. Power levels kept rising and falling without pattern. The computer tried to measure it, then failed. A junior officer spoke with a shaking voice. "Commander, the system says the readings are impossible." Rilvac frowned. "Run the scan again." The scan restarted, then it failed again. Then every nearby sensor shut down at once. For the first time in many years, silence filled the command room. Moments later, emergency lights turned on. Backup systems came online. The unknown ship was still there, waiting. The signal reached the galactic capital within minutes. Admirals, scientists, and intelligence leaders gathered in panic. The Empire had faced rebellions, wars, and ancient enemies, but never this. A scientist stood before the council, his voice tight with fear. "This ship does not match any known technology. It is not Imperial. It is not from any registered alien race." One admiral crossed his arms, angry and confused. "Then it must be illegal. No ship can hide power like this." The scientist shook his head. "It is not hiding. It is controlling it." The room fell quiet again. Historical records were opened. Old files were searched. Every species was reviewed. Then a name appeared on the screen. Humans, a minor species, late to space travel. Known for trade, diplomacy, and weak military power. One officer laughed nervously. "That warship can't be human, right?" No one answered. Back in the outer system, Empire patrol ships moved closer. They kept a safe distance, weapons ready. The unknown ship did nothing. No shields activated, no weapons charged, no communications sent. It simply drifted forward, slow and calm. As it moved, Imperial ships began to fail. Navigation systems froze, weapons shut down, engines lost power. One by one, the patrol fleet went silent. Commander Relvac watched in horror. The unknown ship had not fired a single shot. Yet the Empire's defenses were already broken. A message reached the capital, short and terrifying. Outer defense fleet disabled, no casualties, cause unknown. The Emperor himself stood from his throne. His voice was cold and controlled. "If this is a test," he said, "then we are failing." Back near the unknown ship, a faint signal finally appeared. Not a threat, not a warning, just a calm presence. As the signal grew stronger, the Empire realized one thing. Whatever that ship was, it was not afraid. And the galaxy was about to learn why. The Empire's fear. The galactic capital had never felt so small. Thousands of stars shone outside the great windows, yet none of them brought comfort. Inside the Grand War Council chamber, the Empire's highest leaders stood in silence. No one argued, no one raised their voice. Fear had taken its place. Holograms filled the air. Images of disabled Imperial ships floated like ghosts. Every system failure was replayed again and again. An intelligence officer stepped forward, his hands tight behind his back. "The outer defense fleet is intact but powerless. No damage, no heat marks, no weapon signatures. It is as if the ship decided we were not worth destroying." That thought hurt more than any defeat. Admiral Korth slammed his claw against the table. "We control half the galaxy. No single ship can do this. Find its weakness." The scientists exchanged nervous looks. One of them finally spoke. "We cannot find a weakness because we do not understand the system. The power flow is not linear. It reacts like a living thing." The room grew colder. Records were opened again. Deeper this time. Old surveys, first contact reports, forgotten exploration logs, names of species long gone scrolled past. Then humans appeared again. A historian cleared his throat. Humans were classified as non-threatening. They avoided major wars. They shared knowledge slowly. They expanded quietly. Another officer interrupted. Quiet. Expansion means limited power. The historian shook his head slowly. Or careful planning. The words hung in the air. Far from the capital, the unknown ship continued its slow movement. It passed through Imperial space like it belonged. There, defense platforms tracked it, but did not fire. No one wanted to be the one who started something they could not stop. A young sensor officer whispered to her commander, "Sir, it is not scanning us. It is not mapping our defenses." The commander swallowed. "Then what is it doing?" "Observing," she replied. Back in the capital, panic began to spread beyond the council. News leaked. Merchants delayed travel. Colonies asked questions. The Empire had no answers. For the first time in generations, citizens felt uncertainty. The Emperor watched the stars in silence. He remembered old lessons from his ancestors. Every great empire fell the same way. Not by enemies they knew, but by ones they ignored. A final decision was made. No attack, no retreat, full surveillance. Shadow fleets followed the unknown ship from a distance, listening, watching, recording everything. But the closer they tried to get, the more systems failed. It was as if the ship allowed only one thing: distance. Then something changed. The unknown ship adjusted its course, not away from the Empire, but toward its heart. Alarms rang again across multiple sectors. Not loud, not urgent, just constant. An officer stared at the updated path. It is heading toward the inner systems, toward populated worlds. The room erupted. Questions, orders, fear. The Emperor raised his hand. Silence returned. "If it wanted destruction," he said calmly, "we would already be gone." He turned toward the glowing image of the ship. "Prepare for first contact." At that moment, a new signal appeared on every Imperial screen. Simple, clean, and clear. Not an attack code, not a threat, just a message request. And the Galactic Empire realized the truth. Whatever came next would decide the future of the galaxy. The signal request spread across the Imperial network in seconds. Every screen showed the same simple symbol. No known language, no threat markers. Just a calm request for communication. Inside the command chamber, the council froze. They had prepared for war, they had prepared for retreat, but they were not prepared for calm. Admiral Korth broke the silence. This could be deception, a trap before attack. The Emperor nodded slowly. Or it could be respect. After a long pause, he gave the order. Open a controlled channel. One fleet only. No weapons charged. A single Imperial diplomatic fleet moved forward. Its ships were old but symbolic. Used for first contact across the galaxy. White hulls, open signals, peaceful formation. The unknown warship waited. It did not move closer. It did not move away. As the channel opened, sound filled the bridge. Clear, steady, and calm. "This is a human exploration vessel. We are passing through. We mean no harm. Do not interfere." The room went silent. Human. The word echoed like a shockwave. A species once marked as weak. A species ignored. Now, speaking with confidence inside Imperial space, an officer whispered, "They sound normal." That made it worse. Admiral Korth leaned forward, his voice sharp. "You are trespassing in Imperial territory. Identify your fleet." The reply came instantly. "This vessel is alone." Murmurs filled the chamber. One ship. Only one. Some felt relief. Others felt fear. The Emperor raised his hand. "We acknowledge your passage, but you will submit to inspection." There was a pause, longer than before. Then the human voice returned, calm but firm. "Inspection denied. We will not stop." The words hit harder than a weapon. Admiral Korth's patience snapped. "They refuse Imperial law. This is an act of defiance." Before the Emperor could answer, Korth gave a silent command. A small energy pulse fired from the Imperial flagship, not lethal, just a warning. The pulse crossed space in a blink, and vanished. It did not strike shields, it did not explode, it simply disappeared. The human ship did not react, then everything went wrong. Imperial sensors screamed, power, levels spiked, then collapsed. The diplomatic flagship lost gravity, crew floated in panic, weapons shut down, engines died. Across the fleet, the same thing happened. Ships went dark, one by one. Still, no explosions, no damage, no deaths. The human ship had disabled them all in seconds. Back at the capital, alarms lit the sky chamber. Reports flubbered in. Fleet disabled, no casualties, systems locked. The Emperor closed his eyes. This was not an attack, this was a lesson. The human voice returned to the open channel. Still calm, still controlled. We warned you. We do not seek conflict, but we will protect our path. Admiral Korth stared at the screen in disbelief. You could have destroyed us, he said quietly. Yes, the human replied, but that was never the goal. The channel closed, in silence. The human warship continued forward, passing the frozen Imperial fleet. Like a giant walking past insects it chose not to crush. The Empire had made its move, and failed. As the disabled ships slowly regained basic functions, one truth became clear to everyone watching. Humans were not weak. They had simply chosen patience, and now, the galaxy was seeing what happened when that patience ran out. The disabled Imperial fleet slowly drifted in space. Emergency power returned piece by piece. Crew members checked systems again and again. Nothing was damaged, nothing was broken. Yet nothing had worked when the human ship decided otherwise. Back in the galactic capital, the council met once more. But this time, anger was gone. Only fear and confusion remained. The Emperor spoke first, his voice low. That was not a battle, that was control. Scientists were given full access to all data, every signal, every power fluctuation, every strange reading from the human ship. One pattern became clear. The ship did not overpower Imperial systems. It connected to them, understood them, then gently shut them down. A senior scientist whispered, "This is not brute force. This is mastery." Historical archives were opened again, deeper than ever before. Files marked forgotten, ignored, unimportant. Human records appeared from centuries ago. Exploration logs, trade agreements, small border disputes. Nothing violent, nothing impressive. Then a hidden archive unlocked, a file never fully reviewed. It showed early human encounters with aggressive alien empires, short conflicts, fast endings. No survivors on the enemy's side. The historian reading the files stopped, his voice shaking. These wars ended too quickly. There are no long battle records. Another officer asked. Why? The answer was chilling. Because humans ended them before anyone could record them. Silence filled the chamber. More data followed. Humans had faced destruction early in their space age. They learned fast. They adapted faster. Instead of building massive empires, they built understanding. Instead of spreading loudly, they spread quietly. They hid their strength, not out of fear, but out of choice. One analyst spoke carefully. Humans learned that showing power creates enemies, so they chose patience. Images of the human warship filled the room again. Its simple design now looked different. Not weak, not plain, but efficient. Every line had purpose. Every system had balance. The Emperor leaned forward. How many such ships could they have? No one answered, because no one knew. Estimates appeared. Dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands. And this one ship, this single vessel, had crossed Imperial space without resistance. A message arrived from the Shadow Fleet, tracking reports only. The human ship was still moving, still calm, still unstoppable. It did not scan colonies. It did not threaten trade routes. It ignored military stations. It was not conquering. It was traveling. That realization shook the Empire more than fear. If humans did not want war and did not want territory, then what would happen if they did? The Emperor stood slowly. For generations, we judged strength by noise, by fleets, by destruction. He looked at the image of the human ship. Humans chose silence. At that moment, a new transmission arrived. Not from the ship, but from Imperial long-range sensors. Multiple unknown signals, far beyond the border, matching the same energy pattern. More ships, far away, watching. The Council understood at once. This was not an accident. This was not a lone traveler. Humans were already here. They had always been. The Emperor closed his eyes briefly. "We are not meeting a new species," he said. "We are meeting the truth we ignored, and somewhere in deep space." The human warship continued its journey, unbothered, unchallenged, as if it knew the galaxy was finally starting to understand. A choice that changed the galaxy. The Galactic Empire had always believed in force. Strength decided law, and fear kept order. Now, fear stood on the other side. The council chamber was quiet again, not because of respect, but because every word felt dangerous. The Emperor broke the silence. "We have seen their power. We have seen their control. Now we must decide our response. Two paths appeared before the Empire, one of war, one of acceptance. Admiral Korth still burned with pride. If we strike with everything we have, we may still overwhelm them. The scientist replied softly, one ship defeated us. Without damage, what happens when many arrive? No one answered. Outside the capital, the human warship slowed, not near weapons platforms, not near defense grids, but near a major trade route. It sent a signal again, simple, clear. This is Captain Elias Ward. We request open dialogue. The name spread through Imperial systems. A face appeared on the central screen. Human, calm eyes, no armor, no threat display. Captain Ward spoke slowly. We are not here to rule. We are not here to test you. We are passing through. The Emperor studied the human closely. You disable our fleets, you deny our laws, and you say you come in peace. Ward nodded. Yes. The Council reacted with anger, confusion, disbelief. Ward continued. We travel freely. We protect our people, and we respond when forced. He paused, letting the words settle. We did not attack. You did. That truth cut deep. The Emperor leaned forward. What do you want from us? Ward answered without hesitation. Recognition, respect, freedom of movement. Nothing more, nothing less. The Empire had demanded far greater things from weaker species. Resources, territory, submission. Humans asked for none of it. A memory crossed the Emperor's mind, old stories of his own people, once small, once hunted, once fighting for survival. He realized then why humans felt familiar. Admiral Korth spoke again, quieter now, and if we refuse, Ward's voice remained calm, then we continue on our path, but we will not be stopped. No threat, no anger, just certainty. The Emperor stood, every eye in the chamber, followed him. For centuries, he said, we believed the galaxy belonged to us. He looked at Captain Ward, but strength without wisdom destroys itself. He turned to the Council. We will not choose extinction. Slowly, deliberately. The Emperor bowed his head. Across the chamber, gasps echoed. An Emperor had never bowed. Captain Ward nodded in return. Respect meeting respect. At that moment, news spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Empire had acknowledged humanity as equal. The balance of power shifted, not through war, but through choice, and in silence, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what humans would do next. The new order of the galaxy did not explode into chaos. There were no wars, no sudden invasions, no burning worlds. Instead, something far more unsettling happened. Peace. After the Emperor's decision, the human warship resumed its journey. It did not stay. It did not demand escorts. It simply moved forward, calm and silent, across Imperial space. Systems slowly returned to normal. Fleets regained control. Trade routes reopened. Life continued, but nothing felt the same. Other species were watching. Small empires, hidden civilizations, ancient powers that had stayed quiet for ages. They all saw the same truth. The Galactic Empire, the strongest force in known space, had stepped aside. Messages began to arrive. Careful, respectful, curious. Who were the humans? How long had they been there? What did they want? Human answers were always simple. We want to travel. We want to explore, and we want to be left alone. Soon, more human ships were sighted. Not fleets, not armadas, but lone vessels, explorers, scientists, guardians. They helped where asked, ignored power struggles, and never stayed long. Pirate groups vanished overnight, not destroyed, just disabled and arrested. Without witnesses, without drama, border wars ended before they began. Weapons failed, command systems froze, and both sides were forced to talk. The galaxy slowly understood. Humans were not rulers, they were balance. The Emperor watched from his throne as reports came in. Conflict levels dropped, trade increased, fear faded. One advisor finally asked the question everyone feared. What happens if humans ever turn against us? The Emperor answered calmly, then we would already be gone. That was the truth. Far beyond Imperial space, Captain Elias Ward recorded his final log. Contact successful, galaxy stable, no further action required. He looked at the stars ahead, endless and bright. Humans had learned long ago. Power did not need to shout, strength did not need to rule. Sometimes, the greatest force in the universe was restraint. As human ships vanished into deep space, a new lesson spread among the stars. Never judge a species by its silence, because some civilizations grow strongest when no one is watching. And so, without conquest, without crowns, without empires of their own, humanity changed the galaxy forever.